Good evening. I'm John Bailey. This is People to be Heard, the program where people who have something to say have their say. And I'm with Jim Benerofe. And tonight you've got John Botti, member of the board of the French-American School of New York, a trustee, to give us his side of the developing French-American School of New York plan to build a campus on Parcel A of the former Ridgeway Country Club site, which appears to be heading to a climax. Welcome to the program,
Thank
John.
You, John. Thank
and
you.
Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Good to have you back on People
Thank
to be Here. Now, Jim, why don't you start off our questioning?
So, what were your impressions of the hearing on April 5th? Did you think there was anything new that came out of that, or just...
I think it was a great hearing for us. There were 60 speakers. Half of them were proponents in favor of the reduced plan, and half weren't. And there were a lot of new faces from all over White Plains, from within the Gedney neighborhood and from outside of that neighborhood and other parts of White Plains. It was great to see Beth Wallach come and represent her experience and sort of the leadership she's provided the city for White Plains beautification, and Reverend Tim Dalton representing the Council of Ministers. So I thought we had a very substantive showing on a lot of issues. And frankly, some of the issues that the opponents brought up were resolved a long time ago in the findings statement that was approved by the city. That was the 6-1 approval in December 2013. And some of the new stuff, we're in the process of sending a response letter to the city within the 10-day time period, which ends on April 15th. And we're going to respond point by point to some of the misstatements or inaccuracies that were raised and how we've addressed it. So we're very confident that it was a very productive hearing, and look forward to the next step in this process.
Let's see. We discussed briefly some of those inaccuracies, and let's start with the conservation easement.
Sure.
If we can have that slide.
Yes, we last August 29, 2016, we recorded a 51-acre easement with the clerk's office in Westchester County. It's now officially recorded. It's become and is the largest conservation easement in southern Westchester. And with that easement, we also did a separate easement for bike paths to be installed on parcels A, B, and D. So between the bike and pedestrian paths, there'll be over 3 miles of trails available for public access.
And we have a slide that shows the actual area.
Sure, and some of the opponents have said that it's the incredibly shrinking conservancy and that it's a myth and it's not real and it could be taken back. It's 51 acres that's currently private land. It used to be a golf course, private country club for years, and only 15 acres, including the 2 large ponds of that land, are actually DEC wetlands in the wetlands buffer.
So this is a site where you're going to build.
Yes, which is 28. This is parcel A, which is 28 acres out of the 130-acre site. This is where the existing country club is, where the parking lots, where the tennis courts, where the driving range, and a couple of the holes of the course were. And we're pretty much taking up the same footprint for the school building, where the clubhouse is and parking lots, and with the athletic fields. We have a 75-foot buffer that we're maintaining to all the residential houses. There are about 18 of them along Murchison, and there's one house on Hathaway Lane. So we, with sufficient landscaping to buffer the visual impact.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of those views. The first view would be the driving down Ridgeway eastbound.
Yes, this is where the existing tennis courts are now. You're looking at behind the landscaping where the gym would be, and then the upper school building.
Yeah, and the next view is the entrance to the school off of Hathaway.
Right. This is actually the corner of Ridgeway and Hathaway.
Oh, we're looking down Hathaway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Hathaway is to the right, Ridgeway is going to the left.
Right.
And the new school proposed would be set back an extra 100 feet from the road, whereas the current clubhouse is probably about 30, 40 feet.
And the next view?
This is from coming from Hathaway from the Gedney Esplanade, and this is the entrance, a view of the entrance of the school. Not where the traffic would be coming from; it would be the other direction. But this shows you the the gatehouse and off of Hathaway Lane.
The turn, right. And the next view is the view from Murchison.
This is if you lived on Murchison, this is the view from your backyard. It's very similar to the view that you have now, where you, instead of having a golf course, golf holes, you would have soccer field. There's no lighting, nighttime lighting, and all the sports fields are buffering on the perimeter of the property where the buildings are. This view, I think that building is about 400 feet away. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but.
And next view is the overall traffic management system that has been a
Yes.
big bone of contention. You want to explain
Sure.
how this is going to work?
So, there's been a lot of criticism and speculation and misstatements about our traffic management plan and what our traffic impact is. Tom Soik, the city's commissioner, the city's traffic commission, transportation commission, have all studied and vetted all of the traffic studies we've done, about 11 of them. They brought in an outside consultant that the city hired, had nothing to do with FASNY, named TRC, who also vetted the results. They adopted it in the environmental findings with a 6-1 vote. And basically, recently, we have 3 unanimous recommendations for approval from the Transportation Commission, the Planning Board, and the Design Review Board. All of them voted to recommend approval. So, in my view, if anything short of a 7-0 approval of this reduced plan, that's what I'm expecting.
And you've also gone over the math on the traffic report
Yes.
that the Getney Association presented.
Yeah, at the hearing, Mary Manning is a traffic consultant that the Getney Association hired, and she spoke. She has submitted a report. We just received the copy of it yesterday, and we've been reviewing it. And she made some, her and John Sheehan made some very serious allegations that we did the math wrong, that we can't add 2 3-digit numbers. We used the wrong number to divide. We've gone through all of that, and they've done the math wrong. And we're going to be submitting a report to the city, point by point, going over the Mary Manning math mistakes report, and pointing out some of the false assumptions or accusations that have been made in that report.
Jim?
All right. Now, one of the concerns the Getney Association has is you may build in the future on one of the parcels off Parcel A. Do you rule out that unequivocally, or will you build, or what?
Right. The reduced settlement plan reduced everything. The building sizes were. Let's take a step back and talk about what FASNY and the city reached a settlement on. We've eliminated half of our school from the application. We've eliminated nursery through 5th grade. It's reduced students 33%. It's reduced the building size of the plan 39%, the parking 29%. And the traffic, which has been the most important concern that's been raised, has been reduced overall 42%. The traffic, which was previously approved by the city, was 530 vehicle trips. We've reduced it to 402 vehicle trips, which, by the way, is 271 new vehicles. That being said, is only a 10% increase over the no-build scenario of traffic on Ridgeway. The city, in its previous findings, pushed the plan to North Street. Ridgeway, our traffic studies now show that Ridgeway can accommodate our dramatically reduced traffic. To answer your question, everything's been reduced. Nothing else is part of this site plan submission. And that being said, the Conservancy has also been reduced. It's been reduced to 51 acres. It's still very significant. The school has incurred a lot of undue harm and undue expense as a result of this protracted, one would argue, unnecessary, attrition.
Yes, in its beginning its 7th year.
Yeah, yes it is.
Of deliberation.
Yes.
Now, I understand that you feel your traffic can be accommodated because you lose it onto the site.
Yes.
The backup.
Yes. All of the queuing, we have the luxury of having 28 acres to accommodate separate bus queuing and separate car queuing. Many of the existing schools have a problem where there's not enough queue length internal to the site. This is a major concern of Tom Soik of the Traffic Transportation Commission, and we've addressed it. All of our queuing is on site. So as soon as a car or a bus approaches the site, boom, it's on the property and it's out of the way.
I see. So going back to the previous question, right now, there is no vision of building on any other area of that property.
No, anything else would have to be
Separate site plan.
It's a separate, not even
So we
site
can't
plan.
rule out trying to, right?
We have no intention of doing that.
Okay, fine, thanks. Go
What,
ahead.
what are you going to do with your nursery through fifth?
We're going to stay in rented facilities. We've been in Larchmont 36 years. It's sort of our anchor in community especially for the younger kids, and we've as we have for 36 years, we've been renting facilities from the Archdiocese in New York, and we will continue to do that. And it was a major concession for us to give up half of the school in this application, and we did that in order to have a expedited, efficient approvals process. And the environmentally sensitive site designation was concerning to me, and because we've made the case, and we believe it's a valid case that the site is not that drainage ditch across the street is not is not a stream, and we've written to the court about that, and we reserve our right to pursue that if the vote doesn't consummate in an approval for this reduced site plan.
Yeah, I thought that was a very significant part of the presentation made at the hearing, that Mr. Zarin, your attorney, presented this slide, which shows the actual findings the council made way back on December 13th, 2013. What it says is, it avoids environmentally sensitive buffers, including wetlands, stream corridors, buffer areas, and naturally occurring steep slopes or rock outcroppings. It is necessary and appropriate that FASNY has located the principal FASNY school facilities, including buildings, tennis court structures, athletic fields, and parking areas on Parcel A, and the lower portion of expanded Parcel D, which areas do not contain or are outside the applicable buffer area. Now, Parcel E is out of the picture now.
So just to be very clear,
Yeah.
what the city also determined when when Commissioner Gomez and the council voted, they voted 5-2, was that there are no environmentally sensitive features on Parcel A itself. There are no wetlands, there are no streams on Parcel A. The issue was 71 feet across the street, across a road on Westchester Hills property, there was a drainage ditch / water feature, and whether or not it met the criteria of being a flowing water course. When we provided our analysis to the city, we had a table that shows the 7 sources: U.S. Geological, USFWS, DEC, FEMA, etc. And 5 of the 7 sources showed that it is not a stream. 2 showed that it was on their maps. So, and furthermore, the city's own DPW map, sheet 5C, labeled it as an open ditch. So the city's own DPW map, and here's an image of it. What's circled there with the star it says open ditch. All of the orange highlighting there is the city's infrastructure that basically takes all of the stormwater from the whole neighborhood, essentially. It's about 10 different streets: Murchison, Macy, Gedney Esplanade, Hathaway Lane, up and down Ridgeway, and puts it through FASNY's property in a 36-inch underground pipe, crosses Ridgeway, daylights for about 40 feet, and then goes back underground into a 48-inch pipe. And if this were underground in like the rest of the network, there wouldn't be even an issue. It's a highly engineered feature. It's not a natural stream. It doesn't exhibit any of the characteristics of a natural stream. And, like I said, selectively, in their recommendation, 2 out of 7 of the sources were saying that it's a stream, and the other 5 were not even cited or considered.
Which was made much of by the opposition to the project.
Yes.
In the hearing. Jim?
If everything is approved, how long do you anticipate it will take you to construct the school?
Yeah, our construction management plan is 18 months of active construction. There's probably some mobilization and setting up, but so the total construction period would be 24 months, but active construction would be 18 months. And we're taking this one step at a time, in the sense of focus on resolving the litigation, getting the reduced plan, the settlement plan approved, and we would go forward from there.
Say it is approved, say by June, figuring out about a few weeks. How soon would you start it?
Well, there's
2019? 2018? Has a contractor been selected?
Oh yeah, we have Turner Construction as our construction manager. Mm-hmm. They've been working with us on the construction management plan and all the pre-construction activities, and like I said, our focus right now is on.
That is the Turner Construction Company.
Yes.
Right, the one that Ted Turner used to own, right?
No, I don't believe there's a relation.
No, wrong Turner?
No.
Well, so is what I know.
It's the greenest large builder in the country. They pride themselves in sustainability, and they're very professional.
I see. Have they done underground studies and borings for you?
Oh, all of that's part of part of the record.
I see.
When one thing that I'd like to mention is the opposition says that no due diligence was done. We have binders of due diligence when this property was acquired, and you could probably fill a whole bookshelf with all the studies and reports that have been done over the last 7 years.
So Turner is not going to find any surprises, right? Underneath the ground.
John, we're talking about old news.
That's right.
We're talking all of the December findings, December 2013 findings show that anything regarding hydrology, traffic, air quality, etc., have all been effectively mitigated by this plan.
Right, which
and
they said in this statement from back in December of 2013 that it's not environmentally sensitive anyway. So.
That's correct.
So that leads to the question is, say they approve it, it's all in the past, and we start. But if they do not approve it, you were saying that you are definitely, the city is facing serious retribution.
Well, I wouldn't call it retribution. I would, and it's not the city per se.
Bad choice of word.
No, we've had Mayor Roach, we've had Councilman Kirkpatrick, who is a land use attorney. We've had John Martin, who's also an attorney, Councilperson Beth Smeda, all vote according to the law. There have been votes, recently where Councilwoman Laquona, Nadine Hunt Robinson, and Dennis Crolian have, in our view, and it's not just a question of our view, it's a question of the law. Mm-hmm. We've unfortunately been in the court, and I find it interesting when the leadership of the Gedney Association is giving legal advice, yet they're 0 for 4 in court. And one of those defeats was actually in the appellate division. So their track record, if I'm taking advice from someone, I'm not going to go to someone that's 0 for 4 in the courts and take legal advice from them. Mm-hmm. And the record, when we didn't get our larger original plan approved, we went and we got second, third opinions from other land use attorneys and litigators. And it's pretty much unheard of to have your environmental findings under SECRA approved. And then if your site plan literally dots the I's and crosses each of the T's, which we did of the 129-page finding statement, for that to be denied is a serious legal issue. It's a legal risk that the city is undertaking. Mm-hmm. And the one time that the city defied the lower courts, that's when, in terms of voting on our site plan, the court, Judge Lefkowitz, slammed the city in a pretty harsh language about a war of attrition against the school and what seems to be an apparent legal use of its land. This is not a referendum. This is not for public opinion, even though there is widespread support from many residents of White Plains, many residents in that neighborhood that feel that the leadership of the Getty Association doesn't represent them. Widespread support from Westchester County Association, the Business Council of Westchester, many companies that are looking to locate jobs in White Plains and bring economic benefits to White Plains. This is not a referendum. This is very simply, does our application abide by the law and the requirements? And it's a yes or no answer. And anything less than a 7-0 approval would be arbitrary and capricious and would be susceptible in court.
Are you seeking to have their vote that it is environmentally sensitive just sort of overturned on those merits?
We are reserving our rights in terms of, we absolutely feel that decision that Councilman Kirkpatrick, who is a land use attorney, and Councilperson Smader, who voted that it is not environmentally sensitive, were correct in that determination. But we're also willing to move forward that if we do get the required 5 votes, then the point, it's not
a moot
worth,
point.
It's not worth carrying, yes.
I see. Jim?
Now, going back to traffic a little bit, when people come to the school, they will enter basically where Ridgeway Country Club exists now, where that building exists.
Yeah. No, they would be they'd be coming off of Ridgeway, turning onto Hathaway, and the main entrance of the school would be there.
Okay. And the queuing area.
It's all internally on the school's property. None of it is on Hathaway. None of it is on Ridgeway. And there have been numerous studies that have been vetted and approved by the city's traffic experts that say that it's sufficient.
Yeah. Could we have that slide that shows the queuing areas?
So the loop on the left is the bus queuing area, and then the loop on the right is the cars. It's been studied, more than enough room, and then there's even overflow areas so that, and if the queuing line is filled, there would be available parking spaces. So we are 100% confident that the design of our traffic management will accommodate any of the issues that have been brought up, and the city has already voted and agreed with us on that.
Now, as far as financing goes, you were telling me before that you were going out and getting that. You had it in place, but
Yes.
now you have to re-establish it?
Well, we're into our 7th year.
Yes.
So, one
A lot
thing
has happened.
one thing at a time. One thing I could tell you though is, as time goes by, construction costs go up, and
Yes.
and there has been project cost escalation in terms of construction, and that being said, that was one of the major reasons why we wanted to suspend the lawsuit, reach a settlement with the city. Ultimately, I'm not in this to be in court and to win what we believe we will win eventually, litigation. I'm in this to bring a valuable addition to this community, to establish our upper school campus there. So the best way that we felt to get to that point was to cut our school in half at this property. And if all of the environmental impacts were effectively mitigated before, and then you reduce something by 40%, then it really should be a layup. And now, like I said, we'll see it. We'll believe it when we see it. But it should be, from a legal point of view, it should be a 7-0 approval vote. And would I be shocked if it were different than that? No, nothing surprises me anymore. Would it be correct? Absolutely not.
Are you expecting or gotten any indication from the city that they're going to ask you to do another sort of review or answer some questions on it?
We've already been through that. We went through the referral boards. We went through planning board. We went through design review board, transportation commission. We've addressed any questions and issues. What we will be doing, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we will be responding to some of the misinformation that was brought up at the hearing by primarily the Getney Association, and so that the city has that for its consideration.
Now, suppose it is approved. Are you planning an effort to eventually bring closure to the acrimony that has surrounded this project on behalf of some members of the city and
Yeah.
the neighborhood?
Yeah, no, the neighborhood and the city will have a healing process, I believe. This has been very controversial and unnecessarily so, I believe. You know, if you ask anyone in Larchmont or Mamaroneck or Scarsdale, where our current campuses are, we're an active, important part of the community, to the point where they would hate to see us leave, and so we look forward to moving forward in a positive way in White Plains.
Very good. John Botti, you have been heard.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And John Botti, trustee, board of the French American School of New York. John Bailey saying thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Botti.
Thank you very much.
And good night, Jim Benerofe, and good night for People to be Heard.